Many years ago, in the beautiful city of Lagos, there lived a beautiful woman whose name was Adama. Adama was very kind, hardworking, and intelligent. But there was one thing that made her sad all the time, which was her husband. Her husband was very unfaithful to her. Adama had gotten married to Chijioke, her husband, who promised to love her, pamper her, and be faithful to her forever. Initially, when they just got married, everything was going on just fine. Chijioke was a good husband, he was caring, and they were actually very happy together. But over time, his love for her began to fade. It started with the little things. He began to text other women. He began to spend long nights at work. And sometimes he would come back home smelling of a woman's perfume. Adama would get upset. She would cry, shout, and tell him how hot she was. And every single time, Chijioke would apologize. So he would say, I'm so sorry. It's the devil's handwork. It was a mistake. It will not happen again. It's all these girls, they're after me. They're the ones throwing themselves at me. Chijioke would say while apologizing and begging his wife. But it kept on happening. And after 10 years of marriage, Adama got used to it. She no longer even felt angry anymore. She did not cry. She had grown numb to his unfaithfulness. So instead of being upset, she started even doing something strange. She began to buy protection for him. She would secretly buy condoms and put them in his jacket, making sure that he had them when he left the house. She was no longer angry. And she was not ready to leave him either. She could not face the stigmatization of being a divorcee at her young age. So she decided to accept her fate that her husband was a cheat and there was nothing she could do about it. Her mother-in-law, Madame Nene, was not even helping matters at all. Madame Nene was a strong and powerful woman in their family. And funny enough, she had a strong influence over her son Chijioke. So if she had for once reprimanded her son Chijioke to change from his philandering ways, he would have listened to her and changed. But because Madame Nene did not like her daughter-in-law, so even though she knew that her son was a community property, she did not care because she knew that it made Adama sad. So she never cautioned her son to stop sleeping with other women. And even when Adama had come to report her husband to her to talk about his cheating, Madame Nene would usually shut her down and say, if you did your job as a woman, then he will not be cheating on you. My son, my boy Chijioke is such a good boy. So if he's cheating, that means you are the problem. You are the problem, not him. Madame Nene would say. Adama would usually try to explain that she was trying, she was trying to be slim, fine, beautiful, that she did not used to nag. She gave him peace of mind. But Madame Nene was not interested in hearing anything that she had to say. She would always shout at her instead, telling her to be quiet. Adama had even grown scared of her mother-in-law, so she did not dare talk back at her. So every time Madame Nene would yell at her, Adama would just keep quiet, feeling small. Madame Nene always acted as if her son Chijioke was the most perfect human being on earth, an angel that fell from heaven, that he could do no wrong. Even when he was caught cheating with evidence and proof, she still took his side. So Chijioke continued to keep several side chicks, this time with impunity. Sometimes, he would even take these ladies to his mother's house when he ran out of money and had no money to lodge them in a hotel. He would bring these women into his mother's house and they would spend the weekend together, while Adama would stay back at home suffering in silence. Madame Nene, on the other hand, would always make sure that her son was comfortable. She would make his mistresses and side chicks feel very welcome. She would even go as far as cooking for them. She knew that what she was doing was wrong, but she did it regardless because she hated Adama and just wanted to spite her. Madame Nene did not care whether her son was cheating. As a matter of fact, she liked it. So things continued like this for a while. But out of all the side chicks that Madame Nene welcomed into her home, there was one that stood out. Her name was Akum. She wasn't just like others who came and went. Akum never came empty-handed. Instead, she would bring expensive gifts to Madame Nene, from perfumes to clothes and even a new blender. She would show up with a smile every single time she came. There was something new that she was giving Madame Nene, and Madame Nene loved it. As a matter of fact, she even started looking forward to Akum's visits because unlike the other side chicks, Akum was very generous. So as Akum continued to shower her with gifts, Madame Nene became aggressive towards the other side chicks and she began to pursue all of them away from her son. So Akum became the main mistress. She was always the one that would visit, even when her son did not come. Akum would go and visit Madame Nene. Madame Nene started treating her like family, as if she was her real daughter-in-law, because she was enjoying all the attention and the expensive gifts that Akum was showering on her. She no longer even wanted her son to have any other mistress. Akum had become enough for her son. Adamma knew what her mother-in-law was doing, that she was entertaining her husband's mistresses, and she was furious. But there was nothing she could do. She tried to express her anger and frustration to Madame Nene one day, saying, "Mama, how can you be allowing my husband have a mistress and you even allow her to sleep in your house? Mama, this is not fair. This is not right. This is wrong on all fronts." Adamma said sadly, but Madame Nene screamed angrily at her and said, "If you ever question me again, I will pluck out your two eyeballs and fry it and give it to Akum to eat. Have you lost your senses? Are you the one that will tell me who to welcome into my home? Besides, what is your problem if my son decides to find happiness elsewhere? Abi, do you want my son to be eating only one kind of soup all his life? He should just be eating egusi, 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 egusi. My son needs to taste other soup. He needs to taste other women. He needs to have a balanced diet so that he will be alive and live healthy for me. So you better accept it though. A man would always be a man. So what is the use in fighting? Biko, come nonsense. Let me hear what." Madame Nene would scream back angrily at Adamma. And Adamma would go back home looking defeated and sad. But one thing she no longer did was to cry over her husband. At this point, she had washed her hands off him. She had handed him over to God. She did not have the power to be fighting anymore. How many side chicks will she fight? So their lives continued like this for a while. However, after a while, Chijioke got bored of Akum. He was tired of her. He needed a new adventure. He was no longer committed to Akum. So even though Akum was still doing everything that she was doing, giving him all the attention and affection, but he had moved on. He wanted more. He wanted something exciting, something spicy, something new. He wanted variety. So he started secretly seeing other women. And soon, he even started bringing them into his mother's house. And Madame Nene welcomed them. Because these girls did not come empty-handed. Because Chijioke had given them information that they should buy gifts for his mother so that she would like them. But it did not take long for Akum to start suspecting that something was wrong. Chijioke was not giving her any much attention like before. He was not even spending time with her again. And Akum was a very possessive and jealous woman. She quickly began to suspect that Chijioke was definitely keeping other mistresses. So one day, she went to Madame Nene to confide in her saying, "Mama, I think Chijioke is cheating on me. Do you know whether Chijioke brings any other lady to the house when I'm not around?" Akum asked, looking very worried. "Cheating, Ke? Never. At least not under my roof. Oh. With all the gifts that you buy for me, I will never allow him bring another woman into my house. This is your home, my dear." Madame Nene replied firmly. But Akum did not believe her. Her guts told her that Chijioke was indeed cheating on her. So she decided to investigate secretly. So one day, she spoke to Chijioke and told him that she was traveling to visit her parents and would be spending at least 3 weeks, so she would be out of town. Chijioke was so happy, not knowing that it was a trap. So that same day that Akum left to go and visit her parents, Chijioke came back to his mother's house with one of his side chicks, thinking that Akum was out of town. But barely 1 hour later, Akum showed up unannounced and caught Chijioke in the parlor with another lady. What are you doing here? I thought you said you were traveling. Chijioke said all at once, looking very scared, as he distanced himself away from the lady he was fondling with. Nice one, nice one. So this is what you do when I'm not around, Abi? And immediately, Akum pounced on Chijioke and beat him blue-black. Chijioke never knew that Akum was that strong or could even fight. He could not even overpower her because she was way stronger than him. So she gave him the beating of his life. He literally had bruises all over his face. And when Madame Nene tried to step in to separate Akum from beating her son to death, Akum faced her angrily and said, "Oh, so after everything that I have done for you, spending my hard-earned money on you, buying expensive bags, perfumes, jewelry, and all sorts, you opened your home for your son, my man, to bring in a side chick. Oh, after eating all my money, you want to replace me? You must be mad. Look at me very well. I am not feeling fine, no. I am not normal. No, badun rara. I am not your son's foolish wife, Adama, that allows your foolish son to disrespect her. Me, I will not take that shit from you or your son." Then Akum went ahead and pounced on Madame Nene and beat her black blue. Chijioke could not even stand to defend his mother because he was still in pain from the beatings that Akum had given him. Then Akum left their house angrily, while they both remained on the floor in tears. Madame Nene stared at her son and said, "Nna, where did you pick this mad woman from?" Madame Nene asked, looking shocked. Meanwhile, Adamma had heard about how her husband's mistress had beaten up her mother-in-law and her husband. Her friend who lived in her mother-in-law's compound was her informant and always told her what was happening. Adamma was so happy. Her husband, on the other hand, refused to come back home for days. He was waiting for the bruises to clear before coming back home because he did not know how to explain to his wife how he got those bruises on his body. However, all this while, Akum had been calling Chijioke her boyfriend, but he refused to pick her calls. As a matter of fact, he went as far as blocking her line. Only for one early morning, Akum showed up with some bad boys to Madame Nene's house. Immediately, Chijioke opened the door and saw Akum and the bad boys. He tried to run away, but they held him down. Then she faced him squarely and said, you are bold though. So you this rat, you have the guts to block my number. Hey, Akum, you don't suffer. Let me tell you again, oh, me, I'm not your wife, oh. Look at me very well. I am not well, oh. Forget all the packaging. Inside, now where I be, oh. You cannot break up with me. I am the only one that is permitted to break up with you. This relationship is not over until I say so. So as far as I'm concerned, we are still in a relationship. So for you to be blocking my line is foolishness. Akum said to Chijioke angrily. Then she turned to the boys she came with and said, "Oh yeah, guys, teach this guy a lesson. Rough handle him, so that the next time he sees my call, he will pick up." Akum said. And so, the boys that she came with pounced on him and beat him black blue. Meanwhile, all this while, Madame Nene was hiding behind closed doors. She did not want to receive another beating because immediately she heard Akum's voice, she ran into her room and locked her door. She did not want to get beaten a second time. So a few minutes later, after they were done beating Chijioke, Akum left with her thoughts, while Chijioke stayed on the floor, crying profusely. Akum's behavior did not stop there. It continued to spiral out of control. As a matter of fact, she became more erratic, and she was obsessed with Chijioke. Her obsession grew stronger. She would stalk him everywhere, showing up uninvited at places he went, causing scenes in public places. She became his walking nightmare, not only for Chijioke, but for also Madame Nene. So one day, Chijioke got tired. He packed his bags and left his mother's house and went back to his home before Akum would kill him. At least she did not know where he lived, thankfully. And the next day, Madame Nene packed her bags also and moved into her son's house before Akum would come to her house and kill her. Adama knew all that was happening, but pretended as if she did not know anything. She would spend hours on the phone, gisting and laughing with her friend, who was steady giving her updates. Meanwhile, Chijioke began to change. He no more went out at night for fear that Akum would find him. Condition forced him to start becoming a good husband. Adama would just keep on laughing and laughing. Chijioke would even cook for her and even sing and perform for her. Madame Nene also became a good mother-in-law, praising her for being a good and understanding wife. Hey, Adama was so happy. God, is this how you fight my battles? You walk in mysterious ways, oh. Who would have thought that this my husband can be this romantic, or that this my mother-in-law has an atom of goodness in her? Wonders shall never end. Adama would say happily. But Akum was not done, because she was still trying to locate Chijioke and Madame Nene after they had moved out of Madame Nene's house. Then one day, she finally located them. And as usual, she came with her thoughts. Oh, so you and your foolish mother have been running away from me, Abi? You think I will not find you? Hey, you don't know that Lagos is my base. I know every single way in Lagos. You cannot hide from me now. Akum screamed out angrily. By this time, Chijioke had run behind his mother, while Adama sat crossing her legs and watching the drama unfold. She had never seen her husband looking so scared, like a chicken that they poured cold water on. Wonder shall never end. Adama said, smiling. Then immediately, Madame Nene turned to her and knelt down, begging and crying, saying, Adama, please fight for us. Come and fight for your husband. This is your home. Will you allow another woman to torment your husband like this? I know that my son is a mess and a fool, but he is your own mess, your fool. You should not allow another woman deal with him. You should be the only one that has the right to deal with him. This woman here is crazy, oh. She's crazy. And you're the only one that can handle her woman to woman because, Adama, help me, help us, help your husband. Madame Nene said, pleading with Adama. But Adama simply replied and said, Mama, why did you turn to a motivational speaker? Shebi, when I complained about your son's cheating ways, what did you tell me? That he cannot only be eating one soup, he needs to eat egusi, ofo oha, bitter leaf soup, pepper soup. No wahala now. Shebi now he's eating pepper soup. This one is pepper soup. Let him enjoy the pepper soup. Is it my fault that there's so much fish bone in the pepper soup? And that this fish bone is trying to choke him to death? Biko. Do not disturb my life. My dearest Akum, Biko, continue. He is all yours. Adama said mischievously. So Adama sat and watched as they beat her husband and mother-in-law to stupor. When they left, they had bruises all over their bodies. And then Chijioke begged his wife to please go get hot water to massage his body. But she simply went inside and packed her bags to leave. She stared at her husband and said, my sweetheart, my darling, the love of my life, Odimnobi. As you see me, I am leaving. I am going to join the children in my parents' house. When you are done sorting out this madness with your mistress, then you can call me. But for now, I have to leave. Before one day, something bad will happen to me. They will come for you, they will not see you, they will not attack me. Biko, I'm going. Adama said. Chijioke tried pleading with her to please stand by him and stay with him in his trying time. But all his pleas fell on deaf ears because Adama left. So he and his mother sat on the floor. They were in pains. So a few days after, Chijioke and his mother had to move to a hotel for fear of Akum. But Akum discovered where they were hiding and came with thugs again and beat them. Chijioke and Madame Nene were becoming frustrated. One day, Madame Nene looked at her son and said, what kind of human being are you? Why is it that of all the side chicks to date in this Lagos, it has to be someone with mental problem? Since I was born, I have not been beaten like this in my life. This girl wants to kill me, oh. Look at Adama. Adama was such a good woman, a good wife, and you maltreated her. In short, we both maltreated her. See, if we ever survive this and come out of this alive, if I ever see you talking to another lady, me personally, I will skin you alive with my both hands. Your wife is a good woman and does not deserve any of this from you. Madame Nene said, crying. Yes, Mama, I agree. If God gives me a second chance, if God makes me survive this mad woman, Akum, I promise I will never cheat on my wife again. Chijioke replied sadly. So for the next few weeks, they continued changing hotels because Akum was constantly discovering where they were. But after a while, Adama's heart had softened, and so she returned home and asked her husband and mother-in-law to return back home. Adama's uncle was a commissioner of police, so she put a call across to him and reported the whole matter to him, and he sent his boys to arrest Akum. So now Chijioke and Madame Nene were completely free. They were so grateful to Adamma and thanked her profusely. And they both changed towards Adamma. Chijioke became a faithful husband to his wife. He doted on her and showered her with love. And her mother-in-law, Madame Nene, sang her praises non-stop and pampered her so well. Adama became a queen in her house, and there was love, peace, and laughter once again in her home. But she would from time to time tease her husband and mother-in-law about Akum, and they would all laugh it off. They were just grateful that they had survived Akum. They had learned a very valuable lesson. Chijioke learned never to cheat on his wife ever again in his life. And Madame Nene learned never to support evil ever again in her life. And they all lived together as one big happy family. Hi besties, it's your favorite storyteller, Omalicha. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. What do you think? So if you were Adamma, would you have helped out your husband and your mother-in-law just like she did by calling her uncle, who was a commissioner of police? Or would you have allowed Akum to continue dealing with them? Now, secondly, do you think that Adamma could have won her mother-in-law over if she was buying gifts for her, just the same way Akum, the mistress, was buying gifts for her? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section, and please support your home girl, Omalicha, by subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, and sharing with your loved ones. So now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories, bye!